Hi there, Eric Backer. Thanks for coming back. The naturopath from New Zealand. We're going to talk about yogurt today and constipation. So yogurt is very effective with constipation. It's one of the most effective things you can actually take into your diet, not just for constipation, but to improve your overall GI health. Now, some people, however, with leaky gut syndrome can't tolerate yogurt. They'll have an issue there with some of the dairy proteins coming through, challenging the immune system. There'll be other people that have a problem with lactose, with the milk sugar. They don't have enough lactase to break the lactose down, so they get a lot of bloating and then diarrhea. So if you get diarrhea from milk or yogurt, well, yogurt's not for you then. Some people can actually get a little bit constipated when they first start with yogurt if they haven't had it much before. But I would just keep persisting for a little while and eventually that will clear. In my opinion, a good time to have yogurt is at night time. It's either after meal, or in the middle of the day sometimes, but a little bit away from food. Sometimes I will have a little bit of yogurt after my main meal at night, and often I'll have it just as a small little kind of a snack, separate from a meal. And then I might put some fresh fruit out of the garden with it. I especially like blueberries and raspberries with the yogurt. Yogurt's very easy to make yourself. I've got recipes on my website, ericbacker.com. You can go and have a look. You can find a good recipe on the internet. It's not hard to make yogurt. So if you start off with yogurt, if you haven't had it before, my recommendation is to start with a very small amount and try and do it every second day, like not every single day, but a little bit every second or third day, and gradually build the dosage up. This is especially important if you've made a lot of changes to your diet. So it's best that you don't incorporate yogurt if you've never had it before, along with a whole bunch of other dietary changes, particularly if you're constipated, because it can make a lot of problems for you. So always start slowly with diet change with constipation. Remember, I've said this before in a previous constipation video, it's very important to walk every day when your bowel is not working effectively. Just by that one thing alone, walking every day, it's probably going to solve 50% of constipation cases that I see. Because a lot of people don't walk. They just have this sitting disease like I'm doing now. They sit on their chair. They look at the computer all day. They don't get up and walk. So if you're walking every day, you're starting to put some good foods in your diet, you've taken coffee, tea, and alcohol out of your diet, those things will solve probably 3/4 of constipation cases alone, just those basic stuff. And then you put a bit of yogurt in there, and it's not just going to help with constipation. It's going to help to build up the bacteria, particularly in the large intestine. The bifidobacteria come back. The lactobacillus start getting quite healthy. Your immune function will improve. So yogurt's very beneficial. Have a look at some of my other videos I've completed on yogurt, or do some more reading online. Yogurt is a great food, providing it's organic, it's made from cow's milk, it doesn't contain artificial sugars, and a lot of these little containers you get from the supermarket, they've got aspartame in them, and they've got high fructose corn syrup and probably genetically modified fruits thrown in them. So that's why I say it's best you make your own yogurt. When I was in the States a year ago, I found an amazingly good health shop in LA with incredibly nice yogurt. Beautiful yogurt, beautiful creamy yogurt. It was in Santa Monica. It was incredible. So you can get nice yogurts from shops if you look around. You're less inclined to get them from the supermarket and more inclined to get them from a very good organic health food shop. You watch what happens to the gut when you start eating yogurt on a regular basis, small amounts. All right? Notice how I keep saying small amounts, because I don't want you to overdo it. I've seen people go crazy with yogurt and end up getting quite sick and developing massive allergies. Anything good in life, that's worth it. Putting something in your diet, start slowly and gradually build it up. And there'll be periods where you don't want yogurt and other periods where you want a bit more. You may want a bit more in summertime, for example, and a bit less in wintertime. And you can always make it taste nice. It's fantastic for constipation. It's one of the best foods you can include in your diet for constipation. Don't be hung up on what everybody tells you, that it's allergy forming, you shouldn't have it. In my opinion, from my experience, based on all the years I've seen patients, it's the best cultured food you can eat is yogurt. I'm not a fan of kefir anymore. I'm not a fan of kombucha anymore. I'm not a fan of sauerkraut anymore. When I'm saying I'm not a fan of these foods when people are very sick. when they've got major intestinal yeast problem or bacterial problem. I'm not a fan of turning that right around with kefir, kombucha, or sauerkraut or kimchi, but I am if you put tiny bits of yogurt into the diet. All right, that's one that many people can tolerate. If you can't tolerate it, then just take it out and try it later to see if you can tolerate it. There'll come a time when you can tolerate it. And remember, small amounts and gradually build it up. All right, that's the secret. But is it a good one for constipation? Absolutely, and it's something you should seriously contemplate having in your diet. Thanks for tuning in.